Over 300 people come to get a hot meal every day to this soup kitchen in Buenos Aires. The economic crisis is making life difficult for people like CYNTHIA FALCO, who has 5 children and can barely make enough to survive.
It's difficult for me to say it, but the situation is horrible. We cannot afford to buy food. I'm worried about my children because if they don't eat, well, they get sick.
BILMA ACUNA is in charge of the place and says there is a waiting list with hundreds of people who are waiting to be able to eat here.
The situation is difficult because we are getting help from the government, but it's not enough. If we don't get any more food, we can't take in any more people. It's difficult because people are hungry and they need us.
The peso has devaluated 100% in the past year, and that has had huge consequences in the poor neighborhoods of Buenos Aires.
The impact of the devaluation of the peso on food prices is something that worries those who are trying to help those in need. This year, the prices of food have already increased around 30%, something that makes it difficult for people living here to buy some basic food items like bread, pasta, and meat.
A few days ago, there was an attempt to loot a supermarket in the neighborhood. Similar situations happened in other parts of Argentina.
We were working and heard screaming. These young kids between 15 and 20. They tried to enter the market and loot. It's an example of how sensitive the situation is, and it seems that the crisis on TV every day is adding to the difficulties we already face. We are all suffering, but some groups feel that they have the right to go out and loot.
The government of Mauricio Macri is struggling to prevent an economic collapse and has announced austerity measures to reduce the fiscal deficit. Macri had acknowledged poverty rates are on the rise and announced he will give extra cash handouts for the poor. But Eduardo Donza says much more needs to be done.
Stopping inflation is crucial right now, but that's not going to solve everything. There has to be an increase in local production to generate jobs, and for that we need to see a creation of state policies and a government that has the clarity and humility to call on all sectors to cooperate.
The possibility of further rises in household basics have many in Argentina fearing for the future. In the meantime, there are those who are suffering the consequences of the crisis right now. Teresa, Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.